Hello, what's going on? Welcome back to Mind Your Hormones. I'm excited to talk to you today. This is going to be a super short, potent episode, and it's something that's like, I've been doing this for so long, and sometimes when you've been doing something for so long and it's so tiny and easy to implement, you don't realize like how impactful it can actually be. And so like you don't talk about it, whatever. So that is why I'm going to be talking to you about this today. And we're just talking about literally the smallest thing that you could do every single night, potentially even in the morning as well, that's really going to boost your mood and start reprogramming your brain to look at things in a different way, to think more positively, to raise your vibration, all the things. And of course, there are so many things you could do to support your mood from a nutrition standpoint. And I'm all about the nutrition. Of course, I'm a holistic nutritionist, but nutrition is just like kind of the gateway, right? I think it's the easiest place for us to start when we are making a lifestyle shift because it's tangible, right? It's like, okay, let's add in more of these foods. Let's take away some of these foods. Like, let's just focus on the tangible. And you could obviously make insane amount of progress and see amazing results from nutrition alone, but it's only going to get you so far. So that's why, I love to talk about all the things, not just nutrition. So of course I could talk to you about foods that are going to boost your mood because food directly impacts your mood. Your gut directly impacts your mood. Like, yes, of course, all of that is true, but this is something that has nothing to do with food, and it's just something you could do really easily and really quickly. And the reason that this is coming up is because I was recently listening to a podcast by not by him, but he was a guest on the show. His name is Dr. Amen, and he's like a brain health. I don't even know his exact title, but he focuses on brain health. He's like a brain health doctor or psychologist or something, but he does brain scans. He's like super famous, super well known. He works with he works with celebrities. He's done thousands and thousands and thousands of brain scans. So he is like the brain doctor. If you don't follow him on Instagram, I think it's just Dr. Amen. I'm not sure, but you'll definitely be able to find him. Anyway, he's written a ton of books. Like, I love his work, and I'm always interested in brain health because it's so important for our overall health and wellness. And he was talking on a podcast, and something that he said reminded me of this thing that I do every day. And it was something that he ended up talking about that really helps your brain. And what he said was, where you bring your attention dictates how you feel. And that is so true, because when we notice that we're feeling maybe frustrated or resentful or bitter or sad or mad or angry or fearful, whatever, the reason why we're feeling that way is because we have our attention on something that is causing us to feel that way, right? And this isn't to say to just completely bypass all things that are happening and just like never be in a bad mood. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But it's really true that wherever your attention is, it's how it's going to dictate how you feel. And something that you could do simply every single day that's going to start retraining your brain and reprogram your brain to focus on things that are going to actually help you feel better, instead of focusing on the things that are going to make you feel really frustrated and angry and like feel like you're being defeated. Because I know a lot of you, maybe you specifically, are someone who is dealing with fertility struggles, and that's like the forefront of your brain. And I personally don't have experience with that. I'm very grateful we got pregnant on the first try, and I talk about that openly, even though I know there are so many women in this community that are struggling with that, because I want to show you proof of possibility, because I do have PCOS. I didn't have a period for 2 full years. I had an irregular period for a decade before that. I struggled so long with my hormones. And if I could get shit under control and I could, get my period regulated out for years and then get pregnant on the first try, like, you can too. So I talk about that openly, but I don't want to say I know what it feels like to go through these fertility struggles, but I know a lot of you maybe are, and that could be the forefront of your brain. Or even if you're going through, a really painful period, or you're just trying to get your period back because you do want to start the fertility process, or you're really struggling with acne or weight gain or PMS, whatever it is. And that could be something that's like consuming your brain, or it doesn't even have to be health related. It could be something in your career or with your relationship, whatever it is. It could be very easy to put all our attention on what's not working, on what's in lack, on what we wish was different. And that is going to dictate your mood. Because if you're constantly focused on that, of course you're going to be in a terrible mood. Like, duh. And again, it's not to bypass it. Like, of course we need to feel our feelings, but it's like, do we need to focus on that 24/7? Because wherever your attention goes, energy flows. And wherever energy is flowing, it's going to grow more and more and more and more. And that is also going to manifest on a physical level. So the more that you're focused on something not working, the more it's not going to work. That is the other side of improving your health, changing your cycle, changing your fertility. It is, of course, what you're eating, your supplementation, your lifestyle, your sleep, like all of that, yes. But it's also your thoughts. It's also how you are perceiving it. It's also what you're thinking day in and day out. So one thing that I want to ask you is, what are you thinking about at night? The very last thing you think about before you go to sleep. This is something that is not only going to impact your mood overall throughout the day, but it's also going to impact your sleep, how you're falling asleep, how you're actually sleeping. And of course, sleep is huge for your hormones. We want to be getting quality sleep, but really, what is the last thought that you're thinking about before you go to bed? And something that I started doing, I don't know if it was before my nutrition school, but I know this was something that was a focus in our nutrition school. It's a holistic nutrition program is what I went through. So it wasn't just nutrition based, hence holistic. We look at everything as a whole. I went to the Energetic Health Institute. A lot of people asked me that. I actually had the director of the show. I had the director of the school on the show before, so I could link that episode below. But anyway, one thing that was something that was always our homework that we were just like implemented into our daily life, and now I literally do it every single day, is at night before you go to bed, look for 3 to 4 things that were good. Like, what's good? It was always the question, okay, what's good? We always had to start with that on our homework, on all of that stuff. And it's a habit that I've continuously done. And this could be something that you write down in a journal. This could be something you literally just go through in your head when you put your head down on your pillow. It could literally take you 2 minutes. It's not something that's going to take a ton of time. It's not something that you have to plan for. Like, it's just something you have to get into the habit of doing. And a lot of times we think about like, okay, before we go to bed, let's think about what we're grateful for, which of course is amazing as well. But I prefer like what's good, because what was just good throughout the day doesn't even have to be necessarily something you're grateful for. It ends up being something you're grateful for, but I think it's easier to search for things, and it's easier for our brain to look for things that were good throughout the day than to look for things that we were grateful for. Because sometimes when we think about like, okay, what are you grateful for? Big things come up like, oh, I'm so grateful for my spouse or my partner or my parents or my children or my house, the food that we have on our table. Like, of course, yes, all of those things we're grateful for. But the point of this is to scan for your day of what are the tiny little things that were just good throughout the day that you could put your attention on, and you could realize like, oh shit, even though X, Y, and Z happened that wasn't good, that maybe I'm focusing on that right now, even though I didn't get my period back today, even though I was supposed to ovulate and I didn't, even though this thing that really sucked happened, I'm going to look for 3 to 4 things that were actually good throughout the day. And that is where your attention is going to go. That's going to dictate how you feel. And it's, again, small things. So it could be literally like, okay, 3 to 4 things that were good in your day. It could be, my partner told me something that like he really liked about me. It was like a nice, cute moment. He came over, gave me a kiss while I was doing the dishes. Or I had this really amazing conversation with a coworker or a client, or I was driving and I was stuck in traffic, but someone let me in. Like, literally the smallest things that were just what was good throughout the day. And it's going to be different for everybody, but your brain is going to scan for it, because whatever question you ask yourself, our brain is like a computer. It's going to scan for whatever you ask it for. So just 3 to 4 small things that were good in your day. Write it down in your journal. It could be more than 3 to 4. Like, what I love doing is now that I'm in the habit of it, usually it's like, sometimes I could do a whole page of good things, because it's little stuff. It'll be like conversation I had with my mom, that my mom came and like picked up and did some of the baby's laundry for us. Like, a client reached out and told me they had this amazing result, or someone reached out about working one-on-one together. Even if they don't sign up, I'm like, oh, it's amazing. Or someone reached out from the podcast telling me how cool it was that X, Y, and Z happened and their period is now regulated out, like whatever it is, like little tiny things like that. It could even be like, what was good today? Like, I felt really good in my outfit today. Like, literally that's what it could be. And again, you could just scan through it in your brain, or you could write it down. But this is going to also set the tone for your mood the next morning, because it's the last thing you're thinking about. And we really want to prime our brains for that. I also like to do this in the morning if I have time too, and literally just go through the same list. And sometimes new things will pop up. Like, when I wake up, I'll do my morning routine and stuff. Obviously, this is going to look different once I have a baby, which the time that you're listening to this, I'm going to have the baby. But at the time I'm recording this, I'm 39 weeks pregnant. So baby isn't here yet. But This is obviously going to look different. But I do like doing this in the morning too, when I'm journaling and stuff, and I'll write down what was good from the day before. Same thing that I do at night. Sometimes I don't do both. Sometimes I'll just do one or the other, but I will always at night, even if I don't write it down, I'll scan it in my brain like while I go to lay down. But sometimes new things will pop up even in the morning because you think of other things and more stuff pops up. And it's just like so cool to set your brain. It's about training your brain because your brain is a muscle and it takes practice, especially if you're someone who's kind of stuck right now. I don't even like to say stuck, but you're in a pattern of really focusing on the things that aren't working, really getting down on yourself because you're not seeing the results you want to see yet in your health, in your business, in your relationship, in your career, whatever it is. But once you get used to this one little habit, 3 to 4 things, what's good? That's the only question I want you to ask yourself. What's good? What was good today? 3 to 4 things right before bed. It's a practice, but over time, it's going to just become automatic. And you're automatically going to start scanning for everything that was good. And then the things that don't go so well, because obviously every single day isn't perfect, are going to become less of a big deal. And they're also going to become less frequent because you're literally changing your vibration in the process of this. Because when you're focused on things that aren't going well, that is growing. That vibration around that lack, of frustration, of bitterness, that energy is growing the more that you put your attention on it. So not only is this going to help you feel good and have better emotions because of where your attention is going, it's also going to manifest physically of having more good things happen because energy flows where attention goes. And it's like the law of attraction. The more of an energy you have, the more you're going to bring it to you. So this is just like so multifaceted. And it's such an easy thing that you could do that I wanted to share it with you because it really has changed my life. And sometimes on the days where things are like real shitty, it's a little bit harder to search for 3 to 4 things, but I guarantee you could always find 3 things that were good throughout the day. Even if you feel like they're so minuscule and so stupid, it doesn't matter. Still train your brain to look for that, even on the days that it's hard. And I promise you, you're going to notice such a big difference in your mood, in your energy, and eventually physically, it's going to manifest in a different way in your body. So I hope this was helpful for you. Tonight, every single one of you, I want you to either tag me on Instagram at Corinne Angelica with you doing this, telling me what the 3 things that were good from the day were, 3 to 4 things, or it could be 10 things. Like, it doesn't matter. Just DM me about it. Like, I want to see that you're doing this because I know it's going to make a huge difference for you. And I cannot wait to see what comes out of this. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I appreciate you. I love you for being part of this community, and I will talk to you soon.